Okay, so now staying on the NFL topic, we got our midseason awards. So we're gonna go down the list. I believe there's 6 or 7 awards. We'll just start with let's start with Coach of the Year. AJ, who do you got for Coach of the Year?
Man, going into this last week, I would have said my boy D'Amico, but the scuffling that we've seen, it's not the sexiest pick, but when you look at just how his quarterback's numbers have been, and just, I mean, to say this for a quarterback of his caliber and with how bad his numbers are, I think it's easy. I think we got to go Big Red, Andy Reid. I think obviously he gets a huge boost from that defense because clearly they're not getting it done in the passing game. Their running backs, although it's been kind of a scuffle after Pacheco went down. I mean, Kareem Hunt looks like he found the youth in that offense. So I think for me, I'm going Big Red personally.
I never mind. It's all right. Because I was just kind of thinking in my head about who else could win besides the person that I think should win. I was thinking about obviously little honorable mention to your boy. I know this isn't part of it. Cliff Kingsbury, coordinator of the year. And their head coach, I think it is. I think it is, but unrelated. Their head coach also very good.
Yeah.
But I think of a guy. Because he came from
Cowboys.
Yeah, it was a Cowboy. Yeah, yeah, backwards hats, baby. No, the guy that I'm gonna pick, Dan Campbell, arguably probably should have won it last year. You got. I think it speaks a lot when you can get everybody on your team to buy in. They're so successful in the run game because all their wide receivers block. A lot of people would say that you can run the ball up the middle tough with your line, but if you want those explosive plays, you have to have your receivers block. And everybody on that team's willing to do whatever they can for Dan Campbell. And I think that speaks a lot. Obviously, they're arguably the best team in the NFL right now. That's because I'd say all around, their defense is really good. Obviously, their special teams just put on a show, and they won a game with their quarterback throwing 70 yards. Quarterback also has an 80-something completion percentage this year. I think they're the most complete team with a very complete head coach. A lot of people call him quirky, but whatever, doesn't matter. They win games. And
I'd run through a brick wall for Dan.
Yeah, I was about to say I love Dan Campbell, and I'm not even a Lions fan, so that I'm gonna take Dan Campbell.
Yeah, and just because AJ brought him up earlier, my guy was initially Andy Reid as well.
Okay.
Like you said, Patrick Mahomes' numbers are definitely down this year. It's kind of ugly to see him play, but when you're coached so well and when your defense is playing that well, you don't really need to be a superstar throwing the ball. So again, I think that's a huge testament to the head coaching. So Andy Reid, 7-0. Who would have thought? So yeah, I'll go Andy Reid. Let's see, offensive player of the year. Ryan, who do you got?
Oh man. Wow. We spoke about it last week. I said that it's the first time since the Rams back in the early 90s where we could see a quarterback win MVP and a running back win offensive player of the year. And I think we could see it again this year. I think Derrick Henry is going to be my pick for offensive player of the year. He's obviously, I wouldn't even say a resurgence because he never really had a down year.
Yeah.
He's just kind of been, now he's on a really good team with a really good line. And like we kind of harped on last week, Patrick Ricard of all people, a team that uses a fullback. So not only do you have to get past Ricard, you also have to tackle Derrick Henry. I think it shows. I was trying to think of other people that I'd put up on that offensive player of the year, just kind of to have an argument inside my own head mentally. I couldn't really think of anybody. I'm trying to think of like a few, because I'm not going to give it to a quarterback because it's notoriously, obviously, the MVP is a quarterback award, so I don't want to give the offensive player to a quarterback. The only other person, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, another running back, Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, that was my
is the other person, but I'm going to go with Derrick
Henry. I'll obviously going to go with Derrick Henry. And if I wasn't a Ravens fan, I'd probably still say Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
946 yards rushing, leading the league in, and that's what, 8 weeks?
They have
7 weeks? They have not had a bye yet.
So it's
8 weeks. And And then just to top that off, 9 touchdowns on the year rushing, and he has 1 catching as well.
Yeah, baby.
So
Took him long enough.
for me, it's kind of not close. I think Derrick Henry is obviously, it helps being on the best rushing team in the league. It helps having Lamar, who you also have to take into account his running ability. But he hasn't missed a step. People thought, oh, he's getting older. He's gonna be slow. They're gonna take away rushing opportunities. Maybe after the first week, but then guess what? Week 2, give him the damn ball.
And they tried and they lost.
That's for 2 weeks.
Just looking at it, he's 50 yards away, 50-ish yards away, 54 away from 1,000 yards in less than 9 weeks of the season. So
That's absurd.
If he keeps up with these stats,
He'll go over
almost could be record breaking, but we'll see. He needs to have some really good games. I hope it continues. But yeah, for me, it's not even a close. So I'm gonna go Derek.
Are the Steelers yet?
Not yet.
Oh, that's the nemesis right there.
Yeah, but that's also a game that you could see Derrick Henry running.
So simply just for me, just to be a little bit, a different perspective on it. Obviously, I'm not going to take anything away from Derrick Henry. He's looked phenomenal this season. But just to go and, I guess, kind of change the landscape of things, I think Saquon has just done that and more for the Eagles, where I would say, maybe not by the numbers or, maybe by the numbers, Jalen Hurts, I would say has probably been the worst he's looked. I would say over the last few years.
He's picking it up.
So far this season. And I think when you can rely on a guy like Saquon, I think he's the best player in that offense. And I'm not sure if you could say that about Derrick Henry, obviously with Lamar Jackson there. But I would certainly say that Saquon for the Eagles is definitely the best guy in that offense. So that's why for me, he would be my offensive player of the year. So that's just
really anybody else. Like, could you say Terry McLaurin? No.
I would say, if I'm just thinking about it,
I was about to say,
if I'm just thinking about it, leading receiver in the NFL is right now Jamar Chase. I think it's at 650 something. He hasn't really been blowing me away, right?
Nico for injury.
That's true.
Yeah, he was on pace for it if he kept it up.
Yeah. And now he's coming
and like
back.
you said, I don't really want to give it to a quarterback because, realistically,
the only quarterback
you could say Baker. He's been really good.
The only quarterback
but
I give it
obviously
to
he's going to
is
decline with the wide receiver injuries.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the next award? Let's do Defensive Player of the Year. I'll start it off. I have Xavier McKinney. 6 picks, league leading. Usually this goes to a defensive end, sack leader. I just don't think it's been that sexy. I know Sexy Dexy is leading the league in sacks still.
That's mine.
Huge for a defensive tackle.
That's mine.
Sorry for any spoiler alerts.
No, that's a spoiler.
I think Xavier McKinney, coming from the Giants, showing to be probably the best defensive acquisition as far as free agency goes. 6 picks is kind of crazy already. That's almost a pick a game.
Yeah.
Quick maths. But yeah, I think you can't really argue with that. And really, you're not seeing these guys with huge, 13, 14, 15 sacks already in the season. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with the guy who's catching the ball on defense.
Fair.
I was a little bit of spoiler, no problem. I'm going to take Sexy Dexy because not only is he leading the NFL in sacks, he also has the best dance moves in the NFL.
100%.
Just a defensive tackle on, honestly, a team where that defense carries them, although they don't carry them very far. There's only so much you can do.
They're trying.
They're trying.
They are trying,
and
man.
Sexy Dexy's trying too.
It's tough to score on defense.
It is. I'll go ahead. I was going to give an honorable mention, but we'll go ahead. I'll keep that short. We'll go ahead. I want to see who you pick before I kind of give the obvious honorable mention.
I think just for a cultural pick where I think he just embodies the entire defense. I think for me, TJ Watt.
That's what.
Boo.
I think
boring.
It's just it's a tough.
He's always sacks.
He's got
at the end of the game.
He's got 6.5 sacks.
Always a strip sack too.
He's always got and that's the thing. He's always putting his finishing touches on a game, and I think that's already going through a blocker, and then he's getting chipped by the running back or the tight end,
or both,
and he's still at 6.5 sacks on the year. And I think as a collective, because the Steelers have been so good this year, it's hard to overlook the face of that defense. So that's why for me, I'm going with TJ Watt.
Sure. I was gonna say. What was it?
You were talking about him, no?
I was gonna talk about TJ Watt, but Oh yeah. Before we go on, you guys see Brian Daboll just after his post game where they were like, "Hey, why was TJ Watt like on the biggest play of the game, just one-on-one with somebody?" He goes, "Yeah, Danny was supposed to motion the tight end over there, but he didn't, and he feels bad about it. We talked about it."
Shit. It was a miscue for sure by Mr. Jones.
I mean, that just shows you what happens.
Dude, bro, he wants fucking Daniel Jones out of there. He just took him and threw him right underneath the bus.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that Giants Hard Knocks did not do them anything.
I mean, I've been saying it. I told our friends who are Giants fans, Joe Shane, the GM for the Giants, probably top 5 worst GM in the
Had his son on
NFL.
the team.
Yeah, literally.
He was the one that said we should trade out for Jaden Daniels.
Oh yeah, well not only that, didn't his son also say they should re-sign Saquon?
Yeah,
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure,
for
Yeah,
sure.
and he was like, I love the here. Hold on.
He said you only get a chance to be a GM once. He's like, oh, I'm gonna throw that shit away, son.
Yeah,
Neighbors has been good.
Neighbors,
Neighbors
but you don't
fine.
have a damn quarterback throwing him the ball.
I think
That is a problem.
I think my favorite thing ever was during that Hard Knocks, the owners in the end was like, I'm gonna be sick if Saquon's not on this team next year. And the GM goes, oh, I just got a text that says that Chicago's running up the price and the Eagles are out. So he, in his mind, he's like, fucking basic. Shit, no way. So he just blatantly lied to the owner of his team, saying that Philly was out and that Chicago may have been in on, but that the Eagles were out. And then turns out now he's on a division rival
And tearing it up.
he's a little good.
Yeah.
Ran for 167 yards against him.
Some light.
By the way, he could have run for more. By the way, he could have run for more. Sirianni went over to him, and I was like, "Hey, you're close to 200. Do you want to do it?"
His
And he was
personal
like-
record.
His
Yeah, his
Yeah,
personal record.
yeah.
Like, you're close to it. Do you want to? No, I mean, I did.
Yeah,
I did what I needed to do.
Certainly enough.
I did what I needed to do. It's no
Yeah.
problem. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
I just
no, you're
thought
good.
It reminded me of that Brian
You're
Dable
good.
thing.
I always
Like,
love shitting on the Giants. Sorry,
TJ
Danny. Like,
TJ Watt's thing reminded me of Brian Dable just being like, yeah, he forgot. He feels bad. He literally said he feels bad about it.
Yeah, he feels bad.
About fumbling and not scoring touchdowns.
so let's do comeback player of the year. AJ, who do you got?
Oh man. Oh, this is a tough one.
If you guys want to think, I have one kind of right off the bat.
I know we said a couple early.
They changed the criteria for it. You have to be coming back off an injury.
Apparently,
Yeah.
which I don't agree with.
Well,
That there's a lot of flack after Flacco won instead of DeMar.
It's certainly been an up and down year for his team, I would say. But I think just to see what Kirk's done already, I think he's stalled for 2,100 yards already, and I would say they're on the uptick.
Yeah.
You know, it has been inconsistent. It's been a bit of a bumpy ride, but I think the pieces are there on offense for him, and I would say they're still not even clicking fully.
Yeah.
You know, and he's playing well. You know, they just beat the Bucks last week. But yeah, I would say Kirk Cousins is my pick.
Yeah, I was also gonna say Kirk. Obviously coming off of a brutal injury last year, showing that.
torn Achilles.
Yep, coming back, new team, new city, new weapons, and it's showing that he can still produce. Kirk O'Chains. I just think there's not really much else. Maybe I can't even think of someone else that would kind of.
If he plays the
really
same way the
compete.
rest of the year, you could say Rodgers. But
Yeah, that's fair too.
I mean-
obviously, you just have to maintain it throughout
yeah,
the
Kirk's
season.
actually shown that he's producing. The only other person I can think of, oddly enough, it's kind of like the three Achilles Musketeers, is if they keep producing, and honestly, I think it hinges on the fact that they can make the playoffs. He was better at the start of the year, hasn't really gotten production recently, but he's obviously going to get the rock because Jim Harbaugh is their coach. I could argue J.K. Dobbins,
Yeah, for sure.
So
but-
flashes.
but you know, it's the NFL. They're always probably going to give an award to a quarterback
Mhm.
over any other position.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm sure, as you guys know, there's a lot of people that are coming back from injuries that might be having better seasons than even Kirk, and we just don't know. But I'd say that if you're going to mix it up without a quarterback, I'd want to say J.K. Dobbins, but I'm going to have to agree with Kirk because I'd want to say Rodgers, but
Yeah,
it's only if he plays like
Yeah.
he did. And it looks like both of them are getting more comfortable. I mean, shit, Rodgers ran for like 2 first downs this last year. That's kind of a big deal for him. Kirk's looked a little bit mobile too.
And you have to look at it. I think obviously winning's gonna taken into
and they're going
account
to win the
too.
division.
Yeah.
The
With
Falcons.
the Bucks, with the Bucks kind of falling off, the wheels are falling off the wagon a little bit with the injuries.
Yeah.
Kind of the Falcons division to lose, especially with the
Panthers
Saints
come
being
back.
a dumpster fire. Panthers are the worst team ever. So I just think
Poor
him
Bryce.
winning that division is just going to solidify the comeback player of the year award.
I can see that.
Especially if he wins the playoff game.
Let's do a quick one. Defensive player of the year. I think we all had Jared Verse on the Rams.
Yeah, I would say, but for my boys,
Tim, would you defensive player of the year already?
Rookie defensive player of the year.
My bad.
Sorry.
Yes, we did.
yeah, I mean, I want to see Rams game just because of my dad a little bit, and I think what's the crazy thing is, I think he's having a great season, but when I watched him, there's still some sacks that he's missing on there. Where maybe he just slips out of the arm tackle, so I think his sack numbers can go up even. So if it's not Jared Verse, I'm a homer. I'm gonna go with Kamari Lassiter. They got him in the 4th round, and he's been a lockdown corner for the Texans this year. So I think, to no fault, obviously it's tough to play defense when you're constantly out there, but I think he's been a great addition for the Texans this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you got to throw some more honorable mentions out. I'll even throw the terrible player out of the terrible school. Was it Latu? That's the one from the Colts out of UCLA.
Your boy.
I will also go with my boy Kalen Bullock,
Yeah.
Safety for the Texans out of USC. Those guys, no, he's still playing.
No,
He's good.
I thought both their safeties were hurt yesterday.
Jimmy Ward was out.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been a lot banged up, but
Yeah, I can see those guys getting some votes too. Offensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year is gonna. I feel like it could be a little closer than you guys think. Brian, who do you got?
Jaden Daniels. I mean, I understand. I guess it could be close, but Jaden Daniels. I mean, you just look at what the Commanders were last year and what they are this year. I understand. That has to do with a lot of the fact that they have a new head coach and all
Offensive
that.
coordinator.
Yeah, offensive coordinator. But I just think that you just look at the offensive production. They haven't really gained anybody. They kind of have all the same guys there.
Maybe Austin Eckler.
Offensively. Yeah, but I mean, and they're clicking. They look amazing. They're probably going to make the playoffs. Division kind of, the Eagles are good. So I was going to say they're going to easily make the playoffs because Cowboys stink. But
certainly.
But I mean, I understand you could throw some other names out there, but I'm gonna go.
yeah, I mean, I think that's the consensus is Jaden Daniels. You got Malik Neighbors, who I would say is
Doing his best to make Daniel
I'm
Jones
trying my
look
best, boss.
to look somewhat feasible. And I think a kind of surprising one to go on the other side of it is kind of the inconsistency of Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he finally had his we'll say breakout game going over 100 yards, but I think he's got to show a lot more. But I think consensus would say Jaden Daniels, especially with how he's turned the team around, is probably the offensive rookie of the year.
That's fair. I'm not going to say Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
I'm going to go a little outside of the box. Definitely not the front runner, but I think, you could definitely make an argument. I'm going to go Brock Bowers, tight end for the Raiders.
They stink.
They do stink, but he does not.
He does not stink.
Kid gets like 6+ catches a game for 60 yards a game.
He's the only tight end.
He's the only guy, especially on the Raiders.
I guess
He's the only guy, especially on the Raiders, that looks good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, be a little out there. Obviously, safe pick is Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
But I'd probably put Brock Bowers even over Caleb Williams. That's my boy.
Yeah.
But
He's
yeah,
two right now, I would say.
I'm sorry.
Him and Neighbors kind of maybe swapping that too.
Yeah.
Brock or Caleb.
Brock.
Oh, I was about to say because Caleb's.
Caleb's looked good as the weeks have gone on, but Jaden Daniels definitely outshining him. I think Brock Bowers, and when you think of valuable player, right, you take away that player from that team, how's it gonna be? Brock Bowers, I don't think anyone would catch a ball if Brock Bowers wasn't on the Raiders.
Jacoby Myers is okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go Brock Bowers, just kind of go outside of the box. Now the big one.
This is a big one.
MVP. And I'm not talking.
Patrick.
What? I'm not talking Montavious Porter.
Go.
I'm talking about the most valuable player award.
Yep.
Shohei Ohtani.
Wrong sport. Brian, who do you got?
I was kind of thinking, honestly, even though we were doing all the other words, I was still trying to think on who I was going to decide between two people. I know gambling wise, it's Lamar is the favorite, Josh is second. You said Patrick Mahomes is third, which is disgusting. Jared Goff is 4. I'd switch that around a little bit. I keep Lamar and Josh where they are. I'd Goff move up one, and then Jay Daniels I think could also be in that.
So that'd be like your top 4.
Kind of, yeah. I'm gonna go with Josh Allen only because in past years I've given Josh Allen, talking to my brother, a lot of crap about him turning over the ball. It looks like he's kind of turned that corner.
Got one pick.
Yeah, well, it's been like 9 weeks. Normally he's had like 7 picks and a few fumbles.
True.
I think it's very difficult because although it's kind of the same thing with every quarterback in this league, those two teams go kind of how their quarterbacks go between Lamar and Josh, and both their teams play at an elite level. I'm going to go with Josh, although I do think that Lamar could easily win it. I'm personally going to go with Josh, like I've said like 6 times, only because I think I know who you guys are going to go with, and I wanted to at least get his name out there.
You know,
I'm going to take the reins on this one, okay? Because I was going to use Lamar Jackson here, but you just lost to the Cleveland Browns. You know, had you not done that, you'd have my vote.
You want to give Jameis the MVP.
So,
Yeah, he deserves it.
Didn't know Lamar Jackson plays defense, but it's news to me.
You know, and he had a chance
Come
at
back,
the end of the game. Did he not have a chance at the end of the game to come back and win the game?
Yeah,
He did it.
I didn't watch
he
it.
can only do so much.
He
I
had a
didn't watch
literal last drive, and I know if Patrick Mahomes had the ball in his hands,
He would have thrown a pick.
with his whopping 8 touchdowns this year,
Probably would have made 9.
he's gonna win the game. So, with that said, give me Josh Allen
All right, never mind. I'll go
as
with
for
more.
the mid-season MVP. You know, you took away his number 1 target, and he's doing this with Khalil Shakir,
Dog.
Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman, and I would say, as a whole offense, they're not even fully clicking yet. And
They
that's,
kinda are.
I feel like that's kind of crazy to say because Amari Cooper had 1 catch last week. He's not going to have 1 catch. They're playing 50% of the snaps every week. So, and like we said, he's only thrown 1 pick this season. I think the run game has certainly helped him this year. But from what I'm seeing with Josh Allen and the Bills, that's my MVP right there.
Let me pick this up.
All right,
quick.
who would you like to pick? I think this might be a good time to go to the bathroom because I know exactly what he's gonna say. But
Let me talk to you. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson will win his 3rd MVP this year. And to me, it's kind of it's not close at all. Lamar Jackson beats Josh Allen in a 1v1 contest.
Okay.
What about that? You don't want to mention
Would
that?
you not say the Ravens have a better team? Better defense?
it's a better well,
Yeah, we're not talking about the whole team. We're talking about who outplayed who. You want to bring up Lamar having the last drive of the game, like it's all on him? So let's put it all on the quarterbacks. Lamar beat Josh Allen's team.
Okay.
Lamar is leading the league in all-purpose yards, 600 yards rushing, 2,100 yards passing, 17 touchdowns to 2 picks. Elite. Oh, Lamar just runs. He's a running back. I'm fucking tired of it. Second in the league in touchdowns, and his leading receiver is Zay Flowers, who's 5'5". I'm just saying,
I'll tell him.
it's not even close. Josh Allen, good 2nd place. Here's Silver. Guess what? Ain't nothing wrong with Silver. But Lamar's getting the gold, baby. 3 times, and he's going to win a championship this year.
Well,
Mark my words. Mark them.
Stop.
You heard it here first. It's recording.
Stop pass.
How are we going to stop the pass when our top 2 quarters are out? You let me know. Thank you.
I'm
And
letting you
Jameis Winston's the GOAT.
Listen, I will die on a hill for Jameis Winston. All right, I will.
Talk about a guy I'd run through a brick wall for.
Yeah, let's
Jameis
fight
Winston.
for the logos on the side of our helmets, all right?
Dude, bro, Jameis Winston.
No.
I need a mic on Jameis Winston 24/7. 24/7. He's the greatest of all time. But I don't know about a Super Bowl bust. I think that I don't know. Super Bowl, like I said, you guys got to figure out how to defend in the fourth. I don't think both your corners have been out all year. Have they?
No.
Couldn't defend the pass with them then. They can't stop the run. But when you're talking about like an air raid team, now nobody in the NFL can spin it like Jameis. All right, that's just a fact.
You're not winning that contest.
No, you're not. But I think that when you're coming up against inevitably a team that they're going to have to play, everybody knows it. When you come up against the Chiefs, I understand it was by fucking maybe not even that much. But that's what happens that's the difference between great teams, which obviously the Chiefs are arguably one of the best dynasties ever, and a very, very, very good team, which the Ravens are. But when you come up against an elite defense like that, if they were to play somebody like the Chiefs, which they probably inevitably will, or any of the other, like the Lions or something like that, I think it's going to be very difficult, especially when if you're talking about Super Bowl and the path they need to take if they were to need to play the Lions. The Ravens can win on one side of the ball. The Lions can win on all three. If the Ravens' defense doesn't pick up, obviously they have the names to play outstanding defense. They should be a top defense in the league. This hasn't shown yet. I don't know if it's because they've lost. They did lose their coordinator, obviously.
The defense is going to show up. Like you said, new defensive coordinator. Look at the game against the Browns last week. Kyle Hamilton dropped a game-sealing pick.
Hey, he was trying. Hey,
but no, that's on Lamar.
Jameis will give.
That's
Jameis
on Lamar.
will give you those, baby.
He didn't
Jameis throw for a pick.
appear on the field.
No,
take Kyle Hamilton's spot
because he's the
and
goat.
pick it off himself. But that's on Lamar. Sorry,
He probably could have.
He's fast enough. He's fast enough. And then Justin Tucker. Obviously, we lost by more than 3, but Justin Tucker missed another field goal.
Another one, dude.
The game against the Raiders.
Not my goal.
The game against the Raiders where we lost by a point. Missed a field goal that game too.
He's been struggling.
Against the Chiefs, missed it by its big toe. So
He played like shit yesterday.
Yeah, I know he did. Hey, but that was that stadium stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think this is a good point to wrap it up. I feel like let us know what you think on some of your picks. You know, we got MVP, offensive, defensive rookie of the year, and then